so this is a raised cross stitch circle or raised cross stitch flower stitch or just a raised cross stitch. That's because of the foundation for it. It is essentially, this is one that's done not with the chenille thread, so you can see a little bit more about what's going on with it. It doesn't end up being a circle because it's got the 4 spokes. It ends up being a square. It is kind of the opposite or upside down version of a whipped woven circle. So the whipped woven circle is the one that you go under and around that spoke and under and around the next spoke and under and around the next spoke. And in this one, instead of going under, we're going to go over and around the next spoke, over and around the next spoke. And so that under and around is how it's the stitches that look like this. It's how we create it's the stitch that we typically use with our Yorkshire button looms to make the Yorkshire buttons. And so the back side of it, which in this case has lots of extra threads, this texture right here where you see these lines, that's really this texture, the back side. What we don't see is the fact that it went around all of those spokes. If I could turn it inside out, you'd see that it went around all of those. So hopefully that foundation can help you understand what you're doing when you do this stitch. And I'm also hoping that I have enough thread on my needle to do one. Okay, so it starts with a cross stitch. So all of these have started with a cross stitch. And my tip on that would be don't do all of them in line with the quilt, or you'll end up with what looks more like diamonds. Tilt them. See how this one's tilted just a little bit? I didn't that one and I didn't that one. I probably did these 3 and then went, oh, I need to tilt them or they're going to look funny. So we're going to try this one tilted just a little bit. So you start with a cross stitch. Let me make sure that I'm in the spot where you can see me, okay? Yep, right there, okay. Start with a cross stitch and then you come out right near the center, okay? We're gonna start right here. We're gonna go under that spoke. We lay it where we want, but we have to go under that spoke back the way we came. And that will leave us with that twist around there. Now lay it over the next spoke and we're working our way clockwise around. Lay it over the next spoke and go back the way you came. Now this first one is a little bit tricky to get it to lay where you want, but just make sure that it's laying out here a little ways. Okay, then do the same thing. Lay it over the next spoke and go back the way you came. We're headed, as we go around, we're gonna be headed around clockwise. Lay it over the next spoke, the 12 o'clock, but back the way you came with your needle. Lay it over spoke at 3 o'clock, back the way you came. Lay it over spoke at 6 o'clock, back the way you came. And each time you're going to have these little lines that will lay just like this, and you want to keep them on the outside of each other. Lay it over 9 o'clock, back the way you came. Lay it over 12 o'clock, back the way you came. Lay it over 3 o'clock, back the way you came. Lay it over 6 o'clock, back the way you came. Under, come on. That leg is a little bit too short. So how do you know when you're done with these? It's when you get to the edge of this end of the spokes, so the spokes aren't poking out. So you can barely see my spokes here, but I did not do even spokes and I didn't start with a cross stitch that I knew where it was going. So I've got a really long spoke up here and a really short one down there. Lay it over the 9 o'clock, back the way you came. Lay it over the 12 o'clock, back the way you came. When you're finished, when you've run out of thread, when you've filled all your spokes, just go down on the far side of the last spoke, just like that. That is a raised cross stitch flower, raised cross stitch circle, the upside down version of a whipped woven circle with an even number of spokes. If you wanted to do 5 spokes and do it, you could. You wouldn't start with a cross stitch, you just start with 5 spokes, but that's what it is. Just go lay it down over the next spoke, going clockwise, and then take your thread back the way you came. Lay it over the next spoke, thread back the way you came. And that's how these flowers are made. The fact that they are made with a chenille kind of gives them a little bit more personality in there and a little bit looseness, so they don't end up looking just like direct squares.